Welcome. Today, we're unlocking a secret weapon for any persuasive legal writer, the perfect citation. And look, let's forget the tedious rules and formatting for just a second. I want you to think of citations as the fastest way to build your credibility and, actually win the court's trust.
This right here, this is the key. Everything, and I mean everything, we're about to cover comes back to this one simple idea. Think about it from the perspective of a busy judge or a clerk who is literally buried in briefs. Your citation has one job. Let them instantly check your claim without having to go on a scavenger hunt. You make their job easy, you earn trust. You fail at that, you create friction, you create doubt, and they haven't even finished your sentence yet. So, to really get how to prove it fast, you've got to see that every single citation is doing three critical jobs at the same time. It's not just a footnote, it's a multitasking powerhouse that builds a rock-solid foundation for your entire argument.
What's so cool is how these three jobs are completely connected. Think of it like a three-legged stool. First, you've got authority. You're telling the court, hey, this isn't just my opinion, this is the law. Second, verifiability. You're pointing to the exact spot and saying, and here's where it says so. And third, efficiency, making it so they can confirm it in a snap. Now, if any one of those legs is wobbly, you cite the wrong case, you miss a page number, the whole stool topples over, and your credibility goes right down with it.
Okay, but it's not enough to just cite a case, you have to cite the right case. You see, what you cite is just as important as how you cite it, and this brings us to a huge concept that really separates the rookies from the pros, the hierarchy of authority.
This table lays it out perfectly. At the top, you have binding authority. Think of this as the law the court has to follow. It's totally non-negotiable. Then, down below, you've got persuasive authority. This is stuff the court can look at. It might be helpful, sure, especially with new issues, but it just doesn't have the same muscle. Knowing the difference here is, well, it's fundamental.
And that leads to this golden rule. Seriously, this is so important. If you've got a binding case right on point, but you lead with some persuasive case from another jurisdiction, what does that tell the judge? It screams one of two things. Either you didn't do your homework and find the right case, or even worse, you did find it and you're trying to hide it. Both are just a terrible, terrible look. All right, so we know we need to cite the right authority. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to do it. We're going to break down the basic parts of a citation that judges expect to see every single time. This is all about making it clean, professional, and instantly verifiable. Here it is, your simple, repeatable formula for success. You got the case name, the reporter, the page it starts on, and the court and year. But look at that highlighted part, the pinpoint. That's the specific page number where the good stuff is. And let me tell you, that pinpoint is non-negotiable. Why? Because without it, you are breaking our number one rule. Prove it fast. So let's see how this formula actually looks in your writing. First up is the narrative cite. This is a really smooth way to do it when the case itself is kind of the star of your sentence. You're telling a story about what a court decided, so you just weave the citation right in there. In Smith, the court held, it's just elegant and super direct.
Next, we have the absolute workhorse, the end of sentence cite. This is probably the one you'll use most. You just make a clear statement of the law, and then bam, you drop the citation right at the end to prove it. It's clean, it's clear, and it's how you build your argument brick by brick.
And finally, there's the parenthetical cite. Think of this as your secret weapon. It's like adding a quick, powerful punchline. It tells the reader exactly why this case matters. You're not just giving them a source, you're giving them the so what, right inside the citation. It's an incredibly efficient way to be persuasive.
Okay, once you've got those basics down cold, it's time to level up. We're moving into the pro moves now. These are the techniques that take a brief from just being competent to being truly compelling. This is where you really show the court you have command of the material.
Now, citation signals are not just some fancy legal jargon to make you sound smart. They are all about intellectual honesty. If your case doesn't state your point exactly, but it logically supports it, you use C. If you want to show the court you know there's a case that goes the other way, but you think it's different, you use but C. Using these correctly shows the court you've done the work and you're not trying to pull a fast one. And this slide just perfectly shows the power we were talking about. Look at the left, discussing custody. So what? That's weak. It tells the reader nothing. But look at the right. That parenthetical is a powerful, specific mini-argument all on its own. It connects the case's rule directly to the facts you care about. Now that is persuasive writing.
All right, we have to talk about what not to do. An otherwise great argument can be completely destroyed by a few common but totally devastating citation mistakes. These are the giant red flags that make a judge or clerk immediately question everything you've written. Let's cover the big ones.
First up is the huge difference between a holding and dicta. The holding is the strong trunk of the tree. It's the core legal rule, the binding part. Dicta, on the other hand, is like a stray branch. It's just something the court settled on the way that wasn't actually necessary for the decision. Trying to pass off dicta as if it's the holding, that's a cardinal sin. Your opponent will catch it, and you better believe the court will too. And here are the other landmines. Missing pinpoints? You're just making the judge do your job for you. Ignoring negative history? That's like navigating with a map that leads to a bridge that washed out last year. It's a disaster. And the other two we've talked about, using cases you're not supposed to, or leading with your weakest evidence. Every one of these just screams carelessness, and that can be fatal.
So how do you dodge all those landmines? You use a system. This 6-step workflow is your checklist for every single point you make. Write the rule. Find the best binding case. Add that all-important pinpoint. Maybe add a little backup support. Confirm there's no negative treatment, no one's overturned it, and then use cases with similar facts. Just follow this process and you will produce clean, powerful, credible citations every single time.
So, let's end with this question, because that's what this is all about, right? Perfect citation isn't about memorizing rules just for fun. It's about building an argument that is so solid, so well supported, and so darn credible that you make it easy for the court to say you're right. It's about building your argument to win. Thanks for joining us.